The Indiana State Sycamores are a classic Jekyll and Hyde story. It's happy times at the Holman Center in Terre Haute, where the Sycamores are 7-7 with wins over Drake, Illinois State, and Creighton just this past month. But on the road, Coach Ron Green has not been able to find the winning formula since a 68-67 victory at Ball State in early December. 12 straight losses on the road and numerous lineup changes since then. Illinois State is especially tough on its home floor, logging a 9-3 mark this year. Coach Bob Donwald, his forces knocked off conference powers Wichita State and Tulsa in a span of a week earlier this month. Donwald is the dean of MVC coaches. But it should be pointed out, the last Indiana State road victory in Valley play came at the expense of the Redbirds of the MVC postseason tourney 2 years ago. Tournament time in the Valley. Indiana State challenges Illinois State coming up next. Creative Sports Marketing presents Missouri Valley Conference College Basketball. You're looking live at Horton Fieldhouse at the campus of Illinois State University. Today, first round action of the Missouri Valley Conference postseason tournament as Indiana State meets Illinois State. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the postseason of the Missouri Valley Conference. We've got an interesting matchup. These two teams split their regular season encounters, each winning on its home floor. Well, if you take a look at the situation in conference play and you go to a tournament, it's much different in the postseason.
This is a magical time of year for college basketball. Coaches and players alike, Wayne, have a new lease on life. And on top of that, the fans, the ones who have put up with maybe a real tough year following the home team, they have a new lease on life. Right now, they're playing for spring and summer bragging rights, maybe even into the fall and next winter. So it's really a neat time of year for college basketball.
All right, and certainly one key factor in postseason play this year that is a little added incentive, I guess, would be the three-point shot. And you feel that's going to play a large role in postseason play.
If you track college basketball tournaments down through when they first started in the ACC, what you find is the teams that are real successful are the teams that really get hot, particularly when you have two teams that are equal. Now, what you have here this year is a team that's a three-point shooting team gets more bang for their buck. They get one extra point. It's going to be a hot tournament, not only in the conference tournaments, but the NCAA.
All right, stay tuned. Conference tournament gets underway here in the Missouri Valley Conference. Indiana State and Illinois State coming up next, and we'll be right back with the starting lineups. Illinois State won here over Indiana State 86-57. Indiana State scored a 74-73 victory over the Redbirds at the Holman Center. Let's go to the public address announcer, Steve Adams.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Horton Fieldhouse. This is the Missouri Valley Conference postseason basketball tournament. This afternoon's first round game features our guests from Terre Haute, Indiana, the Sycamores of Indiana State University, and the Redbirds of Illinois State University. And now, ladies and gentlemen, introducing this afternoon's starting lineups. At forward for Indiana State, 6'6" from Springfield, Illinois, and Southeast High School, a junior, number 22, Benji Frazier. At forward for Illinois State, 6'8" from Detroit, Michigan, a junior, 32, Cliff Peterson. At the other forward for the Sycamores, 6'5" from Paris, Illinois, a freshman, number 45, Ron Cheatham. At the other forward for the Redbirds, 6'6" from Chicago Christian, a senior, 35, Derek Sanders. At center for Indiana State, 6'8" from Chicago Corliss, a junior, number 40, Larry Bush. In the middle for the Redbirds, 6'7" from North Chicago, a freshman, 52, Gerard Coleman. At one of the guards for Indiana State, 6'1" from Freeport, Grand Bahamas, a freshman, number 15, Richie Adderley. At one of the guards for Illinois State, 6'4" from Indianapolis, Indiana, a junior, 23, Jeff Harris. the other guard for the Sycamores, 6 feet tall, from Wichita, Kansas, a junior, number 10, Tony Twitty. And at the other guard for the Redbirds, 6'5", from Mount Morris, Michigan, a freshman, 43, Ricky Jackson. The Indiana State coach is Ron Green. The Illinois State coach is Bob Donowall.
Illinois State 16-11, 7-7. O'Neill from left to right across your screen. That's a great old building, a great spot for college basketball. The Illinois State band, and tremendous atmosphere in here. Take a look at the starters once again. There are the matchups. Peterson, an excellent defensive player for Illinois State. Frazier's been one of the better performers down the stretch for Indiana State. Bush had 19 the other night at Southern Illinois. And Indiana State loses the opening tap. Illinois State controls. This is Ricky Jackson. Jackson, good quickness. He'll make something happen offensively.
With Jackson in there, Wayne, Illinois State may be sending a message. It's going to be an up-tempo basketball game.
Harris off the mark on the three-pointer. He's one of the best in the country, ranks 9th nationally in three-point marksmanship.
Indiana State has to stay on the half court today. They don't want to get into a up-and-down basketball game today.
Richie Adderley, number 15, good quickness.
On the other hand, Indiana State not a good outside shooting team, but Cheatham makes me eat my words right from the start.
Cheatham, one of the better outside shooters for Indiana State, but you're right, Indiana State shooting 42% from the field overall this season. Indiana State on the three-pointer by Ron Cheatham on top of the early going. Almost a minute in, first half of play. Harris with a good move, but he traveled.
That's a play we see a lot in college basketball. The head and shoulders fake is good, but the feet must stay planted. He shuffled those feet.
Richie Adderley, number 15. He and Twitty combine to the backcourt. There you get a look at the series between these two schools. Interesting enough, Indiana State's last Missouri Valley Conference road victory happened right here 2 years ago. Frazier on the turn, a brick off the glass, and it's back tap to Adderley.
Interesting defensive matchup. For a second there had Derek Sanders, and still does, on Cheatham. A little size to try to compensate on maybe Indiana State's best outside shooter.
Twitty on the move off the pick by Cheatham. It won't go. Bush and Frazier fighting. Frazier in traffic. And the rebound taken by Peterson. That has been the story for Indiana State all year. They have just had a tough time putting the ball in the bucket.
They're getting good shots, but they won't go in.
Harris. Foul is on Gerard Coleman of Illinois State. Trying to come over the back. His first. That's the first foul of the ball game.
Harris is getting the shots. He's the type of guy you want to shoot with his percentage from the outside. They're not falling. Looks like he's just a little tight, maybe. They're falling short. He needs to loosen up, get up and down the floor a couple times, get his rhythm back.
Almost 2 minutes in. First half of play. Redbirds yet to score. Sycamores on the attack, leading 3-0.
Indiana State squeezing that clock down, trying to get it inside, playing on the half court.
Peterson trying to hold back Cheatham. Peterson picks up his first, second on the team. There's Ron Green. He's done a good job, but it's been a tough year. It really has. When you shoot 42% overall as a team from the field, you're not going to win a lot.
Ron has fought not only a lot of battles, he's fought a war this year. It's been a long, long year.
Adderley, there's Cheatham, makes the up fake. Good move to the baseline, and we've got a traveling call as he took it off the floor.
Took it into a crowd. He had nowhere to go. Tried to take the baseline, not quick enough to take that baseline. Went into the defense, too many people there. Take their time, keep swinging the ball. That's what Indiana State's got to do.
Redbird still looking for their first points of the half. We've got a foul off the ball on Richie Adderley, a pushing foul, his first. That is the first foul on Indiana State.
Coach Green feels that he's got enough guards where he can expend some fouls. So if the guards pick up the fouls, it's not necessarily a detriment for Indiana State.
And he's already working over the officials, is Ron Green.
Well, there's no reason to hold anything back for Monday night, because there may not be a Monday night if you don't win today.
Sanders comes up short. There is Bush with the rebound. 2.5 minutes in, first half of play. Illinois State, the home side, still yet to score.
Unusual, particularly when you're playing at home.
Cheatham. Good feed inside of Frazier, but couldn't handle it. Looked like a good interior feed on the bounce, Mike.
It was. The defense, though, got around quicker, I think, than Cheatham anticipated. They halved very quickly, which slowed the inside offensive player down, and the ball skipped right out of bounds.
If either of these teams looks to run, Illinois State would be the more likely candidate to start moving the basketball down floor in a hurry, but they've got to get on track offensively. Gerard Coleman had the rebound. Bush bumped him, and the foul is called. As you look at Bob Donewald, the dean of Missouri Valley Conference coaches.
When your outside shot doesn't go in like it's not already for Illinois State, they need to take it inside and give it to the big guys, Sanders and Peterson, on the block. Excellent job of offensive rebounding. Just went to the ball. That's just effort.
One reason why Illinois State has improved is Gerard Coleman, number 52. Then a big improvement in the pivot for the Redbirds.
He's a freshman with a very good future ahead of him. He sticks with it, picks up a little weight, maybe an inch or two. He could be a force inside.
Peterson, good defensive player. Ricky Jackson outside. Great quickness, as we mentioned a moment ago.
Let's see if Illinois State doesn't put it in Derek Sanders' hands.
Peterson. A chippy by Peterson, and finally with 16 and a half minutes to go in the half, the Redbirds are on the board.
Like taking the monkey off your shoulders when you make your first one, particularly when you've gone 3 or 4 minutes without a hoop.
This is Benji Frazier looking for help. Good feed to Twitty, and a foul coming up. Tripping foul, so to speak.
Coleman didn't move over quick enough to get position. Twitty slicing through there, got the trip.
Number 2 on Coleman. That's the 3rd on the team, and you see exactly as Mike Pratt described.
Losing Coleman early could hurt. Illinois State does have a longer bench than Indiana State, but Coleman's played so well, they need him in there.
Twitty, foul, and it'll count. Tony Twitty from the outside. Derek Sanders on the hack. That's his first, and already the 4th team foul on Illinois State.
Remember when we were in Terre Haute about a month ago?
Yep.
Twitty came off the bench, Wayne, and had a great basketball game, and he did it from the perimeter.
Tony Twitty in that ball game had 10 points, hitting 4 of 7 from the field. 3-point play here for Twitty.
If Twitty can get hot, that gives an added dimension that Indiana State hasn't had all year. That's the perimeter shooting.
This is Harris. Illinois State working the basketball.
Indiana State seems content to let him take the ball on the perimeter, but pack it inside defensively.
Derek Sanders pushing off as he tried to free up inside to receive that pass. Number 2 on Sanders, 5
in favor of Indiana State. Look for Illinois State really to force this tempo, get into a much quicker and a breaking type offense.
This is Adderley. Sycamore's on the attack. Twitty had to adjust and made the pass from a shot. Pass right past Twitty. Todd Starks, who did not start here today, takes over and reloads the offense for the Redbirds. Starks, a point guard, not much of an offensive scorer, but he is an excellent point guard. This is Coleman.
Starks also is an excellent defensive player. He's in the top 2 in the Valley in steals, and he's almost like a thief, a pickpocket out there. He gets in those passing lanes, he anticipates beautifully.
A starter much of the season did not start here today. Todd Starks. Indiana State on the attack, leading by 2. Just over 5 minutes in, first half of play. This is Cheatham for 3. Peterson is there.
Pulled the trigger on that. He was a little short.
Coleman at the high post. Now this is Harris. Coleman looking to deal. Wide open is Starks. Couldn't pass it up.
Starks came off that bench and has given him a spark. As a coach, you'd love to be able to make that substitution when a guy puts fire in the team right away. Maybe sitting him down, Coach Donewald gave him a message, and the young man has really responded to that.
You're watching the Sycamores. We're tied at 6. Twitty shaking loose down low. Got a foul. Leaves Starks, although Sanders was also there. Starks picks up his first.
When you play defense, you have to anticipate. Mr. Starks got caught in a pick on the baseline. He got behind the ball. Then the foul happened.
Tony Twitty at the free throw line, 37.9% from the field. He is a 55.2% free throw shooter overall. Indiana State, perhaps the poorest free throw shooting team in the Valley.
Both teams have had problems foul shooting.
Yes, sir. But Illinois State has improved greatly down the stretch.
They played very well down the stretch in all regards of their game.
Twitty's made 4 in a row, make that 3 in a row from the free throw stripe. Sycamores leading by 2. 6 minutes into the first half. Peterson needs help. Starks again is open. They give him that outside shot.
Indiana State seems content to let them rotate the ball from side to side, but really pack it in that 3-second lane.
Coleman again shows the touch from the outside.
The freshman getting his feet wet in conference tournament play. He could be a factor not only today, but the next couple games.
Coleman now with 4 points. This is Larry Bush. Cheatham outside.
When you milk that clock, you have to be sure that when time comes, you get the ball in the shooter's hand. Sometimes that doesn't happen.
Good ball movement by the Sycamores. Twitty!
That time it did. That's the guy they want to shoot the ball.
He's got 6 points. He's got more than 6. He's got 7 points right now. 7 of the 10 Indiana State points.
We had breakfast this morning or talked with Coach Green. He said he was going to start Twitty, and he expected him to do that type of shooting. So it's been an excellent move.
Illinois State on the attack. This is Peterson. Cheatham reached in on the foul. I thought for a moment, Mike, it might be traveling.
It looked like it. What must have happened, he traveled before the foul. The foul before the travel, yeah. Got away with one. Well, that's an Ozzy. The refs may owe somebody one on that one. I shouldn't say that because they don't owe anybody, but when you grow up playing on the playground, we call that an Ozzy. That'll come back to you sometime.
12:54 left to go, first half of play. Sycamores, the underdog, 6th seed in the tournament, leading the 3rd seeded at Redbirds of Illinois State. Peterson. Number 32, Peterson. There's Harris. Jeff Harris. He's been pretty quiet.
Illinois State seems to be laboring. They're looking inside, but they can't get it in there. Offense seems to be laboring.
That was a brick by Peterson.
Probably wasn't a shot that Coach Donald would want him to take.
Sycamores can go up by 4 with a conventional field goal.
Again, you squeeze that clock. It is really important for Indiana State to get it in Twitty's hands or Cheatham's hands.
Twitty's pass to virtually no one, but Adderley runs it down. 8 minutes in, first half of play. Twitty on the drive. Good move by Twitty, just wouldn't go for it.
Good move, good shot, roll around the rim. Can't complain about that if you're coaching Indiana State.
Starks on the penetration. Harris open for the outside. No. Gerard Coleman gets the long carom. Redbirds reload. They can tie with a field goal. Starks
is really picking up the slack with Harris not hitting the ball, hitting the shot. Matter of fact, not only is Starks shooting, he's just got his 200th assist, career assist.
Starks, no secret, is going to get many outside shots. He's not known as an outside shooter, and in fact, in the past, has not been a great outside shooter. Here's a 5-second violation coming up on Richie Adderley. That turnover gives it back to Illinois State. So we have seen Todd Starks given the outside jumper. Today, he's taking advantage. We've got a break in the action, 11:17 to go. First half, and we're tied. Back with more coming up. Back on the floor, here come the Sycamores. There's Bob Donwald. His team really been cold in the opening 8 minutes.
Very unusual that the home team would be this cold. Indiana State has to be encouraged. Coach Green at that timeout had to tell his guys, hey, look, we're on the road. 10 minutes into the ball game. It's a 10-10 tie. You guys hang in there. We could win this ball game.
This is Todd Starks. Cliff Peterson. Whistle off the ball. Deion Campbell, guilty of a hold in traffic. Campbell picks up his first. That is 4 team fouls now.
That 3-second lane is a New York City traffic jam in there. The defense is packed inside. The offense is still trying to turn it over and over and get it inside. That's going to create some problems for Illinois State unless the guys get hot
from the perimeter. Right. And that would be number 23, this man, Jeff Harris. But Campbell's right on him, playing him real close out there. Everyone else plays off a bit.
Campbell, their best defensive player for Indiana State, has been matched up on the offensive threat. Good coaching.
Derek Sanders, number 35. Boy, they're still cold.
He has not been a factor offensively or defensively. He needs to get into this ball game.
Sanders, 15.9 points per game, leads the Redbirds overall in scoring this season. Sycamores on the attack. We're tied at 10. 10.5 to go in the half. Frazier in a force of Redbirds. Starks comes away. Sanders.
There's the up-tempo, the fast break, going from defense to offense quickly. That's what Illinois State needs to continue to do to get back and get a lead in this ballgame.
First lead of the afternoon for the home forces from Illinois State.
Indiana State using their big people to rotate the ball, trying to free up the smaller players in on that baseline, just like Twitty did. Taking the big people away, running the shorter or smaller people inside.
Most difficult angle on the shot by Twitty. He ties the game. Twitty's got 3 field goals, 9 points. Sanders on the turn. Bush the rebound for Indiana State.
3 Indiana State players in on the board that time, not giving any second shots.
Sycamores have worked hard in this first half. Here's Cheatham with a force. Came up short. And here the chant of air ball in the background. Harris comes up short. Frazier the rebound.
That's the type of shot, though, off the break you want to give Harris. He'll hit those if he continues to shoot. It's like a hitter. You don't quit going to the plate and taking your cuts. You continue to shoot and shoot yourself out of it.
Jeff Harris yet to score. He had 26 the other night against Creighton. Flip Peterson with a tough rebound. Cheatham knocked it away, but Peterson recovers.
Both teams doing a good job on the defensive backboards. No one's getting second and third shots.
Blocking foul against the Sycamores, Indiana State. Benji Frazier did not have position.
When you go from the side, the wing, someone's got to come over, anticipate. Benji Frazier was about a step late. He needs to see that ahead of time. Anticipate, Wayne. Take that charge.
5 team fouls now. The Sycamores, that is the first on Benji Frazier. Jeff Harris, who's been cold here in this first half of play, has a seat on the bench. 9 minutes straight up to go, and we're tied at 12.
Got a chance over there to sort out the game so far in the first 11 minutes. Get himself mentally back into a shooting frame of mind.
Todd Starks. Ricky Jackson, the freshman, number 43. Tony Hollifield, number 45, just reported on. Hollifield had a good game off the bench with 15 against Creighton the other night.
Important to note, 2 freshmen for Illinois State. Coleman and Ricky Jackson. Good experience for them right now.
Away from the ball, Akinola guilty of a foul for Indiana State.
They're having hand-to-hand combat inside.
Olafemi Akinola, first personal foul. That is 6 on the team. Ron Green up off the bench. This is Todd Starks. Redbirds on the attack, looking to take the lead. 8.5 to go. First half. Hollifield sneaking inside. Harris up high for the rebound, was fouled by Hollifield.
Again, Indiana State had 3 guys on the defensive backboards. Important to note that. They're packing that defense so tight that they have very good rebounding position, Wayne, and they're going for the ball. They're not standing and spectating. They're going after the ball.
8:26 to go in the first half. Redbirds already over the foul limit. Hollifield picking up his first personal. Harris at the free throw line. 6'5" sophomore out of King High School in Chicago, Illinois.
Not a good foul shooter. Matter of fact, if this game stays tight all the way, Indiana State could have some problems at that foul line.
Coleman up high for the rebound. Here come the Redbirds.
They're backing off Starks, trying to double down on that box position.
6 points for the freshman Gerard Coleman out of North Chicago.
Plays very well with his back to the basket, low at the block on the baseline.
Oh, he has made a big difference in this program. Twitty. Holifield trying to control, tapped it out of play.
Twitty's the shooter. He's getting the type of shots he needs. That one rimmed and came out. If they start falling, he'll pick up 3 points very quickly.
7:58 left to go. Redbirds have struggled, but they play on the lead. First game of a triple header here today in the Missouri Valley Conference postseason tournament. There's the rebounding edge. Indiana State, it felt like they led by more than that because they have really controlled their defensive board.
Illinois State has been cold as ice. Indiana State has played that defense where they have great rebounding position. Their problem is they haven't been able to convert on the other end. They've had good shots. They haven't been able to stick it in the hole.
Sycamores on the inbound. Richie Adderley. There's Larry Bush. Transfer out of Memphis State.
Again, a very deliberate offense here. Exactly what Coach Green wants.
That's 3 for 20.
The ball gets into the hands of the shooters. That's exactly what Coach Green wants, and they score.
It won't go down low on the shot by Holifield. This is Chris Harris.
A little mini break of their own for Indiana State.
Adderley on the move, baseline. Olafemi Akinola, whistle away from the ball. It's been very physical. But a 3-second violation is the call here.
Good pressure.
That lane is like a New York City traffic jam, and it has been on both sides of the court.
A lot of pressure in that lane. That time the pressure came on the high post, on the passer. Didn't give him any vision at all to make that pass. And then the 3 seconds happened inside.
Redbirds trail by a point.
A team like Indiana State can be encouraged by hanging into this ball game on the road. And then anything can happen.
Starks. 6 points for Todd Starks off the bench.
For a guy who hasn't shot the ball particularly well from the outside all year, he's off to a great start. They need to get the ball back in his hands as much as possible, and maybe at the same time isolate Sanders or Coleman inside.
Bush on the drive, score the field goal, and a blocking foul coming up. Blocking foul on Tony Holifield. His second personal.
Holifield just a step late, and that's all it really is. When you give help side defense, you have to anticipate and move over there. If you don't, you're subject to that three-point play. He went to his own man that time instead of to the position on the floor to take the charge. He went to the ball and his own man. He goes to the position. He's there waiting for the ball and the player.
Larry Bush out of Chicago. Bleeds home the three-point play, and the visitors lead it by 2.
A lot of balls are hanging around the basket today on both ends. It's a sign of having very soft baskets. The ball is not kicking out. It's laying around the rim. It'll go in or flop just off the edge of the rim. Soft baskets.
Jackson on the turn. Ricky Jackson provides some outside offense, and we're tied.
A couple of guys we didn't expect have been hot from the outside. We looked for Harris, but we didn't expect Jackson and Starks to be this hot early.
Here's the steal. Starks on the drive. Blew the slam. Holifield chases down the rebound.
Adderley caused that. He hustled back. He faked Starks into thinking he was going to take the charge, getting him to leave ahead of time. 2 or 3 steps out, which caused the miss.
Here's Starks. He's not a terrible shooter. He's a 45% shooter from the field. But he's taken the least amount of shots of any starter on a regular basis for Illinois State.
Very true statement. It's hard to be a good shooter if you're not shooting very often.
Foul coming up inside. 5:38 to go. Akinola guilty of his second personal.
Akinola has given them some very good bench plays. Come in. He hasn't given up a lot offensively. He hasn't made mistakes down here on the defensive end. That's a good substitution. If he can hold his own and the game can stay the same as far as score, he's been an excellent substitution for Coach Green.
Peterson misses on the free throw. Rebound off the glass. Holifield goes strong, and he's fouled.
Pure muscle caused that one. Holifield just out-muscled everybody and exploded back to the basket for the putback.
Foul again on Akinola. That is his third. There's Peterson's free throw.
Holifield just...
Watch this. Just go up.
Pure strength.
Back live, Hollifield misses on his first, 11 other.
At breakfast today, we talked with Coach Green, Wayne, and we talked about this situation, the missed foul shots and the rebounds that go to the other team when you have inside position. And we had a 4 or 5 minute talk with him about it. It was kind of mystifying to him how that happened. It just happened.
Redbirds by 1. 5.5 to go. First half. Adderley on the penetration. He leaned in, I believe. No, they're calling traveling.
Looked like he avoided a charge at that point. Lucky to get a traveling out of that. We mentioned talking about what you do on the foul line. As a coach, sometimes you wonder, talking to your players, they're listening to you, but do they really hear you? And when they go back out and something happens over and over again after you've worked on it, then you really know that they don't hear you.
Gerard Coleman bumped quickly and a foul on Frazier. Benji Frazier's second personal.
Foul trouble down the road could be a problem. Indiana State's bench is not long, nor is it experienced.
Gerard Coleman at the free throw line. Really the key to the improvement of Illinois State. Had 16 points against Bradley, 12 against Chicago State, 5 points the other night against Creighton. He's given them solid production to the pivot.
As far as the freshman goes, he's hitting his stride at the correct time. The month of February, you struggle December, January, getting used to college basketball. You hit your stride in February, you take it on into the tournament. Beautiful timing.
The lead is 3 now for Illinois State. 5:10 to go first half.
Adderley has to make sure everybody's in place and they get a good shot this time down the floor. They don't need a turnover, Wayne, where they don't get a shot at the basket.
Plenty of time to go on the shot clock. Hollifield nearly stole it, and in fact, he'll get it. Frazier, the last man to touch it. Trying to recapture.
Excellent defense. He got in that passing lane, didn't make a foul, deflected the ball. They get it back. That's the type of defensive pressure that's going to win ball games.
Ron Green, right-hand corner of your screen. He wanted a foul on that play. Hollifield overplayed to trigger the steal.
Coach Green has to start working the sidelines now. He's gone from a tie to 3 points down. He has to make sure his team and the referees are into this ball game.
Coleman inside is fouled by Frazier on a half. Third personal foul on Benji Frazier.
When you use that wrap move at the low post defensively, you have to make sure you don't drag an arm or a body across the offensive player. That's what happened. The left side of his body caught Coleman, and it's a foul.
Benji Frazier will have to come out. Dean Oliphant reports on for Indiana State. He is a 7-footer out of Jay, Oklahoma.
Oliphant has had some good ball games this year. He's been kind of a mystery player for him. Played well sometimes and disappears at others.
Had 10 rebounds in the loss here to Illinois State at Horton Fieldhouse. Coleman connects on his free throw.
Had a big game against Drake and a putback dunk that was kind of pivotal in their win over Drake. So he's a young man who can provide a spark.
Had 10 points in that game against Drake.
What he does, he takes up a lot of space inside, Wayne. He's a big guy.
5-point lead now for Illinois State, and this can be turned a crucial juncture of the game for the Sycamores.
As we close in on the first half, Indiana State needs to stay close.
Whitty and the force.
Not a good shot. Didn't know where the shoulder rushed the shot.
Coleman. Yes.
How about those soft baskets? That ball lay up there and went in. Coleman's getting off to a great start.
12 points for Gerard Coleman. 4 minutes to go in the half.
The crowd's involved now.
Bush to try to quiet the crowd. He was pushed. Coleman picks up his third personal foul.
Indiana State, let's look to see if they don't change their defense down on the other end when they make the transition. That was one of those touch fouls. Probably not a real good foul. Coach Donowald on the bench was not exactly excited about that one.
Some conferences, they don't call that a foul.
But on the other hand, Indiana State not being a real good foul shooting team probably won't hurt you. The flip side of that, 3 fouls on Coleman,
Yep.
He's on the bench. He's been playing well. Probably not something that Coach Donald would like to have happen. A guy's on a roll like Coleman, you need to see him in there.
Bush at the free throw line has 3 points here today. Coleman replaced by Matt Taphorn. Good all-around player for Illinois State.
Good perimeter shooter.
Yes, sir. Handles the ball well, doesn't make many mistakes, and will get a rebound for you.
See, that wasn't a bad trade-off. If he would have scored 2, obviously you get 2 on the scoreboard at that point. Now he's got a chance to go 1. What you lost in the trade-off is Coleman on the bench with 3 fouls.
Bush trying to snip a 9-point run by Illinois State. He cannot. Redbirds looking to make it 11 straight points. Taphorn has the lane. Gets the ball!
Missed defensive assignment. Oliphant did not react quick enough. He was slow getting over, and what they didn't need to have, here's the missed defensive assignment right out there. Harris lost his man. Oliphant reacted too slowly. The worst thing that happened was the foul. He didn't need to foul. He should have gone ahead, let him score 2, and get the ball back and go on the offensive end.
Taphorn trying to make it 12 straight points, and he does.
Timeout here is good.
3:42 left to go. Standing ovation for the Redbirds, who were listless early. They move in front, 28-18. Back after this. Basketball starting here at Horton Fieldhouse, and later on this afternoon, 3 Eastern, 2 Central, Creighton at Wichita State from the Roundhouse down in Wichita. Many of you on the network line will see that game, and others also will be seeing Southern Illinois at Drake starting tonight.
Well, that Drake team has to be hot. They went into Bradley and beat a very good Bradley team who is extremely tough at home. That's got to be a confidence builder going into the tournament.
Boy, and you talk about a team that has been up and down this season. Gary Garner has aged a good 10 years with that ball club he's had this year. Running well in the early portion of the conference season and then struggling in the middle, coming on strong toward the end.
It gives you gray hair very quickly.
Jeff Cooper into the game, number 14 for Indiana State. Boy, the Sycamores need a field goal here.
Could be a breaking point as far as Indiana State's concerned. It's been a long year. They're used to losing. Now's the point where they need someone to pick it up and say, hey, we're not going to lose.
Taphorn stripped the ball from Adderley. 12 straight points by the Redbirds.
And they've gotten points every way possible.
Hollifield.
Too quick inside, Wayne. Too quick for the big guy inside.
Away from the ball. Taphorn went flying, and Oliphant is guilty of a foul.
When it rains, it pours.
Yep.
You have 14 straight points scored on you, and you go down the other end of the floor, and the big guy just got caught moving. It wasn't intentional. He just got moving, and when you're that big, it's tough to stop.
2:52 to go, first half. It has been a disastrous final 6 minutes of this first half for Indiana State. Redbirds through the first 10 minutes played on the lead.
It's really tough right now for the players and for Coach Green and his staff because it's been such a long year. And they started out so well. To have it all just fall in on top of them at once, it's almost like getting sucker punched.
Should say the Sycamores played on the lead in the early going first 10 minutes of the game. Bush has the rebound. And we've got a foul coming up on Cliff Peterson.
Now, Bush
Peterson
can
picks
convert.
up his second.
Bush could convert these foul shots. He was up there last time and went 0 for 2. If he could pick up a couple here, it will give him a little confidence. The guys on the bench and the guys on the floor can say, hey, we can score. Now let's try to peck away at that lead.
Only a 52% free throw shooter overall, 50% in conference play.
Last time they scored was at 6 minutes and 41 seconds.
Yep, been a long time. That snaps the straight string at 14. Illinois State string of points at 14. Got to be careful. You say state around here, everybody jumps.
Well, one's better than none, but that wasn't exactly a confidence builder trip to the line.
2:40 to go in the half. Ricky Jackson. Hollifield. Batted out by Bush. Jackson there.
Indiana State picked up the tempo defensively. They got into a little rut. Looks like they're a little quicker now defensively.
Holifield on the jump. He has 5 points.
There's a guy who started early in the year and has lost his starting position, but now he's been positive and has made a real contribution off the bench. Not a lot of guys can handle that.
16 to run by the Redbirds, and now Bush converts off the glass. So it becomes a 16-3 Illinois State run.
Illinois State has to be careful now. They don't get lackadaisical, relax and start throwing the ball all around and let Indiana State back in the ballgame. They have to make Indiana State earn the chance to get back in the ballgame.
Under 2 minutes to go in the half. 11-point lead for Illinois State. Holifield freed up again. This time it wouldn't go, and Adderley has the rebound of the weak side.
Bush did an excellent job that time kicking over from the help side to almost take a charge and force a bad shot.
Williamson just reported on. A lot of contact off the ball. Jackson knocked it away out of bounds.
I get a little scary when I have, as a coach, my big guys out there becoming the passers or the rotators.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. But Coach Green has to really go that way because his scorers are the smaller players or the perimeter players. He's trying to move them without the ball. To do that, he's got to get his big guys as the passers.
Indiana State on the attack.
Cheatham needs to get back involved. Cooper's in the ball game. Cooper's been a shooter for most of the year.
Cheatham grabbed him across the wrist. Make that Taphorn grab Cheatham. First personal on Taphorn. Good feed here by Bush, Mike.
Bush has become a passer. Led the pass away from the defensive man. He really set that up. He could have thrown it to the defensive side, threw it to the baseline side, made the whole thing happen. Excellent pass.
Not only hacked him across the wrist, he also bumped him. Did Taphorn on the foul, and Cheatham converts to the free throw line.
There's an old saying that if you're going to foul, you make it count. You make them know that they've been fouled, and that's what happened.
Second upcoming for Cheatham, who has 4 points. Just getting a break even at the line.
The game could be much closer if Indiana State could convert those foul shots.
Matt Taphorn. This is Todd Starks. Under a minute to go in the half.
Illinois State wants to get a good shot. This time down the floor. They're squeezing the clock as much as possible. They'd like to go in with a 10 or 12-point lead. If they get a good one here, they've got the chance, even if Indiana State scores at the buzzer.
11 to go on the shot clock, and a foul coming up. Blocking foul against the Sycamores. Ron, is it going to be on Cooper instead of Cheatham? Jeff Cooper picks up his first.
Not a bad foul. Illinois State has not been a super foul shooting team this year. Plus it stops the clock and gives Indiana State the chance to get the ball back and get a good shot with 32 seconds.
Sonny Roberts, number 44, comes into the lineup, giving Holifield a breather. He played well off the bench.
Excellent job. Coach Donowald has to be happy with his substitutions, the guys off the bench.
Taphorn delivers at the line. Taphorn's a junior from Pekin, Illinois. Tough, versatile player. At 11 points against Illinois Chicago on the road. Taphorn has come off the bench to hit for 5 points here in the first half.
Coach Donowald looks like he's trying to make sure that everyone gets a chance to play a little bit in this first tournament game. If they win down the road, that could be a plus.
One thing about tournaments, you play a lot of games over a short amount of time. Cooper freed up. Good movement off the ball by Cooper, and he gets freed up for his first field goal.
Could be a factor in the second half for Indiana State in making a rally. His outside shooting, he can really get hot.
Starts on a force. Bush the rebound. Cheatham with 2 seconds to Cooper, who fires. End of the first half, the score. The Redbirds of Illinois State 34, the Indiana State Sycamores 24. Stay tuned. We've got halftime activities coming up after these messages. Brought Bob Donwald's team from behind, and at halftime, the Redbirds lead 34-24 over Indiana State. Back with more halftime activities after these messages. Games across the network, and we hope you're strapped in for a long afternoon and evening of great college basketball action. Well, a lot has happened this season. Of course, the coaches conference team was picked this year, and some interesting selections on that team, a little bit different from what the media selected.
Well, coaches probably vote with their hearts. The media people see it differently. And as a coach, you really respect the opposition. You scout them, you chart them. You have a good feel for what everybody can do. And then if the players deliver as you thought, as you play them, you really have some respect for some guys. There's some awful good talent on both these teams.
Percy Hawkins and Derek Sanders, David Moss, Tracy Moore, Michael Morgan has played well at Drake. His shot the other night won that game at Bradley. Second team selection, Middleton's had a great year at Southern Illinois. Anthony Manuel came on well at the point guard position for Bradley. Kenny Evans at Creighton. Henry Carr's been a real story down at Wichita State. Of course, Jeff Harris, the three-point marksman here at Illinois State. And Brian Riley has been a force at Tulsa.
The guys who made the team seem to really have impact on their respective team as far as where they went in the Valley race.
All right, let's take a look also at the standings in the Missouri Valley Conferences. We head into tournament play. We'll get a look at them. Of course, Tulsa won the regular season championship. Bradley is not eligible for the conference tournament. Illinois State actually gets the third seed in this tournament. And as you get a look at the top four, the Redbirds, in effect, finished fourth, but they have the number 3 seed as Bradley is not allowed due to the restraints of probation to compete. There's the second group. Drake struggled, and we thought they'd do a little bit better than that. Southern Illinois, Rich Herron in his second year there. Creighton and Indiana State round out the conference standings of the Missouri Valley.
Wayne, there's some teams right in those standings that played extremely well late in the year, and that could give them some emphasis right on into this tournament.
For winning the conference, Tulsa, the number 1 seed, gets a bye in today's round. Southern Illinois and Drake play tonight. Wichita State and Creighton play later this afternoon. And, of course, the winner of this game will move on to play the winner of Wichita State-Creighton on Monday. And you see the top bracket with Tulsa taking on the winner of Southern Illinois and Drake. And that game, we know for sure, will be in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
That should be a good ball game because both those teams, Southern Illinois and Drake, are coming off wins. And it's good to move right into the tournament off a high.
Interesting first half of play here. It is crucial that Indiana State come out with fire in the second half as they trail the Redbirds of Illinois State. We'll be back. The home of the Redbirds of Illinois State, who play on the lead by 10 over Indiana State, opening round of the Missouri Valley Conference postseason tournament. We've taken a look at the athletic side of these two schools in the first half. Let's take a look at the academic side of two great institutions, Indiana State and Illinois State. Halftime highlights brought to you by Budweiser, the genuine article, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Get a look at some of the action of the first half. Here's Tony Twitty, and he had a good first 10 minutes of play, Mike.
He came out with fire in his eyes. He took it to the baseline that time and had the patience to wait for the defender to commit himself, and then he was able to score. He really got him off to a good start.
I really think one of the keys to the improvement of Illinois State is number 52, Gerard Coleman. We get a look at Coleman in action coming up right here, the freshman out of North Chicago. He had an outstanding first half of play.
Plays very well without the basketball. Got off to a good start, established himself at the inside position and from the foul line with his jump shot. So he's got to be very, very confident.
He's a big kid who showed he can shoot and play facing the basket. We'll return with more halftime after these messages. Wayne Larrabee and Mike Platt, we are going to take a look at some of the halftime stats here. And as you look at the field goal percentage, Illinois State shot very poorly early in the game. Down the stretch, shot much better. And Indiana State managed a little bit better than what they shoot on the average at 44.4%. We look at the three-point factor in this game. Now, Illinois State, take into account, as one of the best three-point shooting teams in the nation, with Jeff Harris being ninth nationally in three-point shooting, but he's over 2 today from three-point range. Indiana State, 2 out of 3 from three-point range. Let's take a look at the free throw statistic. Indiana State, that has been a problem for them all year, Mike.
They wouldn't be down 10 if they could have converted. They could have been down maybe 5 or 6 points and still been very, very positive about the outcome of this ballgame.
Get a look at the rebounding situation. They worked hard, did Indiana State off the boards and made it to a standstill, but the turnover factor.
That's been really key. When Illinois State made their run, it was the defense that did it. They got into passing lanes. They created steals and turnovers for Indiana State. On the other hand, when Illinois State had the ball, they went the last 16 minutes, Wayne, without a turnover. Now that is really ball control, good passing, excellent shot selection. Whenever you can go that long without making a turnover, you know you're going to score some points because you're getting shots.
Twitty, most of those came early in the game. Bush had 6, played pretty well. Cheatham, 4 points. They the leaders for Indiana State as far as the Redbirds are concerned. Coleman, we mentioned, he had an excellent first half of play. 12 points for Gerard Coleman. He was 4 of 4 from the field, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. He also had 3 rebounds in that total. Starks came off the bench, 6 points. He also sparked this team at both ends.
Hollifield also came off the bench. 2 good key reserve plays.
Taphorn, another bench performer who came out of the first half and made a difference for the Redbirds. Sycamores on the attack. They trail by 10. We start the second half. Interior feed by Cheatham. Benji Frazier, it just won't go.
The confidence factor starting off is going to be very important for Indiana State. If they don't gain some confidence in the first 5 or 6 minutes, the game could be over because of the year they've had.
Jeff Harris yet to score in the game, number 23 for Illinois State. We'll look for him to have a little more of an impact offensively. Here he goes on the run, but he's called for steps.
Well, Jeff Harris sure has not been able to get on track. He hasn't been hitting his shot. They called him for a couple traveling calls. It looks like the wake-up call was not answered on his part today.
Maybe they ought to try him again.
Well, he may possibly have another ball game.
Frazier looking down low. There's Adderley in the corner. Bush against Coleman. Up high for the rebound went Sanders, and they called him for a foul.
2 good shots. The last 2 times down the floor, they've had good inside shots from the block area. They've used the backboard just like a coach would want. They haven't gone in. There's nothing Coach Green can do, nothing the young men can do. Obviously, they're not very good shooters right now.
3 personal fouls now on Derek Sanders. Benji Frazier on the turnover. Peterson.
Big hoop. Confidence builder for Indiana State. Frazier's played very well the last month of the year. He needs that for his own personal confidence to get things going.
Illinois State on the attack. They're still giving Stark some room on the outside.
Indiana State's packing it in, still in that 3-second area, almost inviting the shots from certain people on the Illinois State team.
Man-to-man defense for the Sycamores. Coleman.
The defender got lost in a little shuffle cut on the lane, or in the lane, was able to free Coleman up.
Redbirds back on top by 10. Almost 2 minutes in, second half of play. Benji Frazier from the outside, and he has hit a couple.
Good sign from Frazier. He picked him up about a month ago and carried him to a few wins. He could be able to pick him up this afternoon and get him back in the ballgame.
18 minutes left to go. Redbirds with the ball and an 8-point lead. Peterson on the block. Here come the Sycamores. Adderley at the point of the attack on the drive. Coleman got a piece of it. Are they going to call? Got an official's timeout because Derek Sanders on the other side of the court is down.
The officials correctly tried to let that play run its course, which they should have. Once the shot was off, the referee at the far end called timeout on his behalf.
Illinois State will take over. Ron Green wanted a goaltending call that time on Gerard Coleman, who got a piece of the shot.
Adderley took it too far. He was a little fella in the land of the Giants. Didn't get off a good shot.
Away from the ball, the pushing and shoving continues, and a foul called on Larry Bush.
Again, it's all been centered in that 3-second lane. That traffic jam that falls in there when you put all those bodies.
Illinois State is a very physical team, and we're seeing a physical team in Indiana State here today. Maybe not normally, but today they are a physical team. They have been physical.
They haven't backed off 1 inch from Illinois State. Matter of fact, in some cases, they've taken it to Illinois State.
Crowd looking away from the ball, wanting a foul called on some of the contact. No call made. 25 to go on the shot clock. Here's Harris. Coleman, the rebound, had it slapped away, and a foul called on Whitty.
They made a defensive change. They've taken Frazier and put him on Coleman, taking Bush off him.
Whitty picking
Loose
up
ball,
his first
scramble, Wayne. No doubt about it.
Yep, there it is. Say to yourself in the schoolyard, we don't call those, but this is the real thing.
We've got guys with striped shirts here today.
On Starks, inside Coleman. Yes! And a foul!
You cannot play behind Gerard Coleman. He is deadly inside there.
That equals his career high. Watch it again.
Starks simply hits him as he steps into the lane. He was able to do it because Frazier played behind him. You can't play behind a guy as big and strong as Coleman, who also is having a very, very good day.
Benji Frazier now with 4 personal fouls. Coleman seeking new heights. This would be a career high, 17 points.
The 4 fouls on Frazier is a real problem because offensively he's been able to do it early in the second half. If he sits down, where does their offense pick up
Exactly. Ron Green has to go with Benji Frazier. Here he is. Starks on the drive. Redbirds in transition. Peterson off the glass.
This is where the game can really get out of control. Indiana State misses. Illinois State picks the ball up and rushes it down the floor and gets a couple easy shots. The lead can go from 13 to 23 very quickly.
Sanders overplaying defensively, gets called for the foul. His 4th personal foul. That is the 2nd of the team.
Give Cheatham Academy Award points. He kind of flopped down. It looked to me like Derek Sanders did a good job.
Look at his reaction to that.
He must agree. Coach Donewald must agree.
I think you took the words right out of his mouth.
Illinois State impresses me with their ability to play defense in the passing lane. Typically, they don't foul. That's good coaching, good fundamental teaching on the staff at Illinois State Park.
Been a part of this program since Donewald arrived 9 years ago. Frazier, Bush trying to break it free. Clears it to Cheatham for 3. Yes.
Now that will bring them back. A couple of those. The three-point play is unbelievable.
Great hustle by Larry Bush. Hollifield down low. Larry Bush picks up the foul with the body, his 3rd.
Again, Bush got caught behind. As they came through the 3-second lane, he may have run into somebody, bumped off somebody, but once you get behind a guy down low like that, you're just asking for trouble.
4 team fouls on Indiana State here in the second half of play. Tony Hollifield at the free throw line. Very poor free throw shooter overall, but he's made 14 of his last 17 free throws.
You talked him into that one.
Hollifield has 6 points here today. 14 of his last 17 coming into the game. I'll tell you what, he couldn't buy a free throw a month ago in Terre Haute. Here today, he has made 3 out of 4 from the foul line. Redbirds in command, and that man has his work cut out for him.
Playing as well off the bench as they once had as a starter. That's unbelievable.
Get a look at some of the shooting percentages here in this game. Up to date, Frazier looking for help, finds Bush. Indiana State needs a field goal bad. Adderley, wild shot. Was he fouled? Yes, by Harris on the drive.
Illinois State looked like they really took the defense to them that time. They were hustling that time. Adderley just knifing through there, obviously taking advantage of some quickness.
Yes, sir. He just beat him.
Too bad it did not end up as the best shot, but he got to the foul line.
Hits on his first, and he'll have another. Richie Adderley, a freshman, Freeport, Bahamas. Really a true point guard, fine ball handler. Not noted as a shooter.
One of those young players that Ron Green has up and down his roster.
has been hot. Redbirds working around, showing a lot of patience.
They're a very patient team. They've done that all year. They're not going to change anything now. You dance with the one that brung you. If it got you here, you stay with it.
Coleman. Well, I'll tell you what, Mike. He's hit on drives. He's hit on jumpers out front. He's hit on a side jump now.
He's made us forget about Derek Sanders today, who has not really had a good game. You don't even know it because of what Coleman's done.
Bush inside. And it falls. Larry Bush with his first second-half field goal.
Cooper's getting ready to check in for Indiana State. If they can make a couple more shots inside, and if Cooper or Twitty would get hot from the outside, they could cut the lead. They could get right back in this thing.
But Sycamore fans know those are a couple of big hits.
Based on what's happened all year, you're right, but it's tournament. Anything can happen.
Gerard Coleman. Hollifield, good move! Wow!
Major league move. Pivot, head and shoulder space, step through. Major league move.
14 straight up to go. The lead is 13 for the Redbirds. Cheatham from deep. Nothing but white jerseys around the rebound.
That's the only problem with a three-point shot. It usually comes and leaves you with very bad rebounding position, as was shown just then.
Todd Starks directing traffic. Peterson was pushed. He will go to the line.
He was lucky to get pushed because it really wasn't a good shot. There was a crowd of people down there. Indiana State player just got a little over anxious. Needs to look for a little better shot. Illinois State can still let Indiana State back in the ballgame if they're not careful by taking shots like that and possibly not converting on the foul line.
Jeff Cooper back into the lineup, replacing Richie Adderley for Indiana State. Larry Bush will play with 4 personal fouls. He and Frazier on the floor with 4 fouls. Peterson now with 5 points in the game. Tell you what, the Redbirds, since about 10 minutes left to go in the first half, have really looked sharp.
They're not making any turnovers. They're getting pretty good shots, and defensively, they really have some pressure.
I believe they spotted a foul away from the ball. Looked like it might be on Peterson.
That's all right. They're still letting Indiana State know that the defense is alive and kicking. Psychologically, Wayne, that's got to bother Indiana State.
14 fouls, 3 on Peterson, 20 on the drive, and Peterson picks up his 4th. 5 team fouls. Peterson is one of their defensive stoppers, junior out of Detroit, Michigan.
He and Starks are noted to be the finest defensive players on this team.
Bob Donwall decides to insert Matt Taphorn, the utility man, so to speak, in the Redbird lineup. Here he comes, number 34. He replaces Peterson.
Taphorn has had some really outstanding nights. He can give you that offensive firepower. We still have Derek Sanders over in the bench. He struggled through a real unusually un-Sanders-like game.
Todd Starks triggers the steal. The feed to Ricky Jackson, who lost it out of play.
Again, you got a good glimpse of Todd Starks, ace defensive player. Gets in those passing lanes, 1 or 2 in the Valley, both years, last year and this year in steals. Great knack for playing defense.
Cooper. Twitty trying to tap it free. Hollifield. Here comes Starks. Jackson. There's Gerard Coleman, number 52, and again the Redbirds reload the offense.
The Redbirds still haven't got their outside game down. They've been winning it with defense and inside offensive play.
Good hustle by Jeff Cooper. Here comes Twitty for the Sycamores. This is Ron Cheatham.
Indiana State's whole offense now is geared to that three-pointer. They're finding that line, and then the man with the ball is trying to find the guy behind the line. That's not a high percentage situation.
Illinois State leading by 15, though. Maybe it's the only recourse for the Sycamores.
No doubt about it. Very good observation.
They've had trouble getting it inside.
There's 12 minutes left to go in the season. They have to do something like that.
Ricky Jackson makes the lead, 17 points for the impressive Redbirds of Illinois State. Ron Green at the moment has seen enough. 12:02 left to be played here at Horton Fieldhouse, and the Redbirds in command. We'll be back with more. After this review, we'll see Creighton at Wichita State, a 3 o'clock Eastern start, 2 Central Time. Right here, we've got all the Missouri Valley Conference action. Some of you will even see a triple header. Southern Illinois at Drake, starting tonight, 8 Eastern, 7 Central.
Wichita State, tough place to play. Creighton's had its up and down situation this year. They pulled some upsets. Being on the road playing at Wichita has got to be tough, particularly when they come off a real big win over Tulsa Thursday night.
Tony Twitty for Indiana State. Redbirds need a bunch. They trail by 17. Cooper on a good interior feed, broken up by Hollifield, taken by Jackson. Here comes Taphorn.
Taphorn did a good job of slipping around the defender.
Foul on Bush is his 5th, and he's out of here. Finishes with 8 points. Leads the game with 11:45 to go. 16 fouls now on the Sycamores.
A very unhappy Larry Bush, and I tend to agree with him. I think Taphorn did an excellent job of sliding around. I didn't see any contact.
8 points, 7 rebounds for Bush here this afternoon. Turnover situations 9-5 here in the second half.
In Illinois State's defense, the pressure has created that.
9 turnovers by the Sycamores. Less than, well, a little over 8 minutes into the second half. Matt Taphorn at the line. Taphorn hit 3 out of 4 from the free throw stripe in the first half when he authored 5 points off the bench. 68% free throw shooter. He cashes in on the second.
It's going to be tough on Indiana State now. Bush was one of their mainstays inside. They don't have a long bench. They're bringing in an inexperienced player in Brian Williamson.
Williamson, number 51 with the ball. Frazier down low. Frazier had it for a moment off his hands and out of play. Redbirds pick it up.
Williamson has to be a factor defensively inside and on rebounds. He's got to get some putbacks quickly. As you said, they got to come back with a lot of points and do it quickly.
Hollifield inside once again. He's got 11.
You can't get caught behind. You have to wrap or front at that inside post position.
Cooper finally gets a three-pointer to fly. He now has 5 points. 17-point lead for the Redbirds.
Indiana State's gone to zone to try to choke off that inside scoring, which has been really valuable to Illinois State here in the second half.
Really, it has fueled Illinois State's surge in this game. Harris has not had it from the outside, hasn't played a whole lot here in the second half. Williamson reaching over the back of Cliff Peterson is called for the foul.
And that defensive change might work because Illinois State has not shot the ball well from the outside today.
There's the interior feed, and Williamson over the left shoulder of Peterson.
When you get into the wraparound position down there, or a half position as some people call it, you have to do it quickly and ahead of the pass. That time the big guy, probably because of lack of experience, waited too long, got caught behind. It was an obvious foul.
I said Peterson, my mistake. It was Coleman who was receiving that pass and was fouled, and Coleman misses on the free throw. Williamson the rebound. Tony Twitty. 10.5 to go in the game. Sycamores trail by 17.
Good pressure by Illinois State.
Williamson. It shows us something from the outside.
And I obviously was not looking for that one at all. I thought he'd be more of an inside factor. Right away it goes to the foul line and sticks a jump shot. That's a new dimension.
Halfway through the second half. 15-point lead for Illinois State. Gerard Coleman, and he gets it.
Can't let him do that. That's why you're playing the zone, to choke off that inside. When that pass goes inside against the zone, somebody's not playing it correctly.
21 points now for Gerard Coleman, a career high. 9:40 to go. Good feed inside. Cheatham on the drive for 2 and a foul.
Not a needed foul. Should have let him go ahead and score. Hollifield should have let him go ahead and score and get the ball back and play offense. Hollifield came from way back. Didn't need that foul. Here he comes into the picture. He didn't really have a block opportunity. Should have let him go ahead and score.
Third personal on Hollifield. That is 6 on the team.
You trade him 2 for the ball at this stage in the ball game every time. You don't want to give him 3.
Gerard Coleman leads to a rousing round of applause, well deserved. Cheatham completes the 3-point play. 14-point lead for Illinois State. 9:35 to go.
Interesting to note, both Harris and Derek Sanders, 2 key players, have been on the bench most of the second half for Illinois State.
Peterson comes up short. Cheatham the rebound. Indiana State on the move. This is Twitty.
Twitty had the big guy that time and didn't hit him, pulled it out, trying to make sure that they get a good shot.
9 minutes left to go. Benji Frazier on the force off the glass and a foul. Yes, and it counts.
You can't let them back in the ball game by making silly fouls. Give them 2. Trade them 2 for the ball. Don't give them a chance to get 3. Frazier has excellent pressure. No chance for the block on that on Starks' part at all. He should have traded him 2 for the ball. The clock is their ally now for Illinois State. They don't want to stop it.
Both teams are over the foul limit. Starks picks up his second personal. Benji Frazier at the line. Slowly but surely, Ron Green's Indiana State Sycamores beginning to claw their way back in.
A couple more trips down the floor, a couple more 3-pointers. If he converts, that's 2 straight 3-pointers. It should have really only been 2-point shots.
That was a tough shot by Frazier. Williamson on the rebound is fouled right away by Taphorn. Ron Green applauds the call and the play of his team.
Williamson got that rebound from the inside position, just what we talked at breakfast.
Cheatham triggered it, looked like, huh?
Cheatham got his hand on the ball. Williamson was alert enough to get it, but he got it from the inside position. That's a funny play.
Williamson with a field goal for 2 points. You get a look at his numbers on the season.
He's been a factor. He makes a hoop, gets a couple key rebounds. Now he makes a foul shot.
Came in after Larry Bush fouled out with 11:45 to go. In a pair.
Big guy's doing a good job. Has to be encouraging for Coach Green and his staff.
10-point ball game now with 8:47 to go.
Box and 1. Twitty's got the chaser position on Mr. Harris, who really hasn't been very hot. Twitty's trying to run him around, make sure he doesn't get his hands to the ball and get an open shot.
Coleman swings loose. Good feed from Harris. 23 points for Gerard Coleman.
A career game.
Yep.
Great place to have it.
Twitty forces it and draws the foul. Coleman picks up his 4th.
Now, Illinois State has to be conscious that Indiana State, if they score, it's only 2. Leave Twitty alone. Let him shoot. Give him the 2. Get the ball back. What we're seeing here is the clock is stopping, Wayne. And that's to the advantage of Indiana State.
Tony Twitty had 12 points in the first half. There's Gerard Coleman. 8:20 left to go in the game. Every opportunity offensively is crucial for Indiana State.
Give Twitty credit for having the ability to get to that foul line. He did an excellent job on the baseline. He drew both defenders to him and caused that situation. Now he's going to convert. Excellent thinking and very good move.
Yuko transfer from Coffeyville converts a pair. 10-point game.
If the fans get into this one, Illinois State could really have an advantage down the stretch. Box and 1, Twitty again on Harris.
Harris has not scored. Derek Sanders has scored just 2 points. 2 crucial performers on any given night for Illinois State.
Many times the box and 1 will confuse or throw the team offensively off their rhythm. Didn't bother Mr. Taphorn.
Good ball movement, and Taphorn converts at the end.
you can hit the perimeter shot, you can really hurt a boxing one.
The foul on Williamson for clearing out down low.
Not an appropriate time for that type of foul.
Second foul on Brian Williamson.
But he really hasn't had as much playing time as most guys out there right now, so it's the effort that counts right now for Coach Green in Indiana State.
Officially, it's 2 personal fouls on Williamson. Taphorn at the line. Boy, this guy just does everything pretty well. Really does. He's a heady performer. Get that clutch rebound, hit that open jumper, make his free throws.
Very good floor presence.
Matt Taphorn converts a pair, and the lead again has grown to 14 points for Illinois State. Ron Green will talk things over with his Sycamores. We'll be back.
From the Thursday night ball game, did all that on Saturday. Really showed a lot of class in the way he played with that injury.
79 years strong, the Missouri Valley Conference, and Cheatham guilty of a traveling.
It's important for Indiana State to get a shot. They can't continually cough the ball up or make fouls that cost the ball back to Illinois State and get in this ball game.
Ron Green with his head in his hands after that traveling violation. Illinois State Redbirds can take their time. They lead by 14. 7:17 to go in the game.
Still the boxing one with the chaser on Harris. Let's see if Taphorn and Starks can pop a couple from the outside.
Holman inside.
You don't need to pump any from the outside if you can consistently get it inside to Gerard Coleman, who's having a super ball game.
25 points for Coleman. He's been all world here.
That middle right now, the Indiana State zone is like a sieve. They're really having some problems.
3-point try off the mark by Cheatham. Starks clears the rebound. 6:40 to go. Good feed to Hollifield, and they close the baseline. Williamson did a good job defensively. Shut the back door. Coleman 10 of 10 from the floor, 25 points.
Illinois State has to play the clock now. That is their opponent, not Indiana State. It's the clock.
Hollifield shakes loose. Williamson the rebound. Cooper on the play. Benji Frazier. Gerard Coleman with the rebound.
Not only can he go 10 for 10 from the field, he can rebound.
6 minutes left to go. Boy, he's making us look good. We talked about him early on as being one of the keys to the improvement of Illinois State.
And he's put a smile on Coach Donald's face, I'm sure.
Looks like a bona fide player, no question about it. Good move by Taphorn. Sycamores have some distance to cover here as they still trail by 16.
They have to be looking for a three-point shot here. They can't fool around, let that clock run. They have to get a good shot as quickly as possible.
Benji Frazier off the glass, the tap by Williamson.
Nice tip. Really went to the board. Followed the missed shot. One hand tip back in. It's a 5-minute season for Indiana State now.
Williamson with 6 points off the bench since Bush went down with fouls. Todd Starks.
If Illinois State scores this time, look for Indiana State to get out of that box and one.
Foul on the rebound battle. Against the Redbirds of Illinois State.
Hollifield over the back.
Fourth on Hollifield. Best scoring game by an Illinois State player this year is 26. That being by Jeff Harris the other night against Creighton. Coleman has 25.
We talked about Coleman. Let's talk a second about Hollifield. That wasn't a bad foul. He was going for the rebound, the offensive rebound. A foul out of effort can always be lived with by a coaching staff.
Cheatham at the free throw line. Hollifield garners the board. 4:50 left to go. 14-point lead. Redbirds.
Redbirds squeezing the clock, running the offense, making sure that they get a shot. Not in a big hurry, but make sure they get a good shot. Indiana State, on the other hand, may have to come out of this zone. They're running out of time. They're not a real quick team. The team they have in here is not real quick. But they're going to have to do something with the man-to-man pressure here to create some turnovers or bad shots.
10 to go on the clock. Good feed by Coleman to Hollifield, and the foul committed on the slam attempt by Hollifield.
Coleman drew the defensive players to him, found the open man under the basket.
Foul on Jeff Cooper, helping out defensively inside.
Coleman was surrounded and still found the open man.
Oh, I tell you what, that kid has shown a lot today. They were telling me, though, since the Indiana State game that you and I witnessed in Terre Haute, where the Redbirds blew a lead and lost to the Sycamores, that Coleman has just been a player, bona fide, and we're seeing evidence of that here today.
That was almost his coming out party over in Terre Haute. What?
Frazier the rebound. Hollifield misses a pair at the line. Sycamores can slice the deficit to 12. Cheatham out high on the drive. Whoa, went in.
That's something we hadn't seen. All the way from the top of the circle and score.
He pulled that one out of the holster.
And he had his head down all the way.
Yes,
that
sir.
was a heck of a move.
All right. Redbirds leading by 12. They can afford to wait.
Indiana State still in that zone.
Under 4 minutes to go. 3:30 left to be played now. Tap horn from deep. That is crushing.
That was a big hoop. Tap horn just waited till the right time, slid down from in front of the bench to the corner, starts to kick the ball to him. It was almost like it was drawn on the blackboard.
This is Cooper. On the penetration, nice move. Tap horn claims the board. And he's fouled on the play by Cooper.
Good foul. Stop the clock. I was very surprised that time that someone from Illinois State wasn't kicked back over from the help side to take that charge. Cooper came from way out on the wing, all the way.
Cooper picks up his third. As we mentioned, both teams over the limit. 3:05 left to be played. Matt Taphorn at the line. His brother plays at Wisconsin Green Bay. Taphorn is an honors student majoring in accounting here at Illinois State.
I hate to keep bringing this up, but how well has Illinois State's bench played today? I mean, they have been fantastic.
Unbelievable. They played like starters is what they've done. Meanwhile, you've got Harris with no points. You've got Derek Sanders with just 2 points. We've seen very little of Sanders here in the second half. Taphorn makes 2 more at the line. He's converted 5 in a row. Illinois State Redbirds break around Bob Donewald. He seems to have this team hitting stride down the stretch when it counts most. They have won 4 of their last 5. They're only in the
tournaments or even in NCAA tournaments. When you get 2 teams that are pretty close in talent, what really comes to light is the mental toughness. How tough you are. Do you really believe in yourself? And are you really ready to put it out there in front of everybody and play like you've never played before? It's all mental confidence, mental toughness.
Final 3 minutes of the season for Indiana State. They trail by 16. Ron Cheatham on the drive. Good move at the baseline.
Good timeout. Stop the clock. Lets Coach Green have the ability now to set his defense. He'll also over there look to see who he might want to foul based on foul shooting percentages. He'll probably set a couple different defensive trips down the floor and a couple offensive trips.
Ron Cheatham, it should be pointed out, with that last field goal, has 10 second half points, 14 points in the ball game to help keep the Sycamores within shouting distance of the high-flying Redbirds, who still lead by 14.
We've seen Cheatham take it to the hole from the wing and from the top of the circle. His reputation coming in, and what we look for was a three-point shot.
Three-point shot, yep.
And here he's blown the doors off the defender and taking it all the way.
Mike, you'll excuse Ron Green if he wasn't expecting a lot from Gerard Coleman coming into this game. Ron Green, the Sycamore coach, in the 2 games that Coleman played against Indiana State this year, he had a total of 8 points and 7 rebounds.
It's always those guys you're not looking for that just tear your heart out as a coach. He obviously was not thinking that Coleman would have a career. Thought about Harris. He showed that by playing in boxing 1. And he knows Sanders is as good an all-around player as there is in the league. And here the young freshman comes out and has a career as the dominant factor.
Coming up, the winner of this ball game will face the winner of the game many of you will see next, and that is Wichita State playing host to Creighton down at Wichita. Some of you still may see the late game, which would be an 8 o'clock start Eastern time from Des Moines. And that, of course, the Drake Bulldogs and Southern Illinois Salukis.
Full court pressure. I'm not sure Indiana State has enough quickness to really bother Illinois State unless Illinois State does it themselves and kicks the ball around.
Harris, to his credit, Jeff Harris has not forced much here today.
Played within the offense and within the game itself. He hasn't been hitting, so he didn't shoot. Very smart player.
He's wide open. He can't pass that up.
They couldn't pass it up, and he still couldn't make it. It's been a tough day for Jeff.
Cheatham feeding Williamson down low. Twitty from three-point range, short. Hollifield stepped down the baseline as he tried to save the inbounds off the shin of one of the Sycamores clamoring for the ball. I believe Benji Frazier. There's Ron Green.
Wouldn't you love to be talking to the Creighton staff and the Wichita State staff right now? They saw something today in Gerard Coleman that they obviously weren't looking for. And whoever wins that game, their defensive game plan has to change somewhat for Monday night's game.
Coleman with another rebound. Under 2 minutes to go in the season for Indiana State. Illinois State will advance.
Indiana State not giving up in good, tough man-to-man pressure here. Illinois State just trying to squeeze that clock down, get this game over with, get nobody hurt, and look to the winner of the ball game next in Monday night's encounter.
Monday night at home if Creighton wins, on the road if Wichita wins. Jackson, great feed. Gerard Coleman. No! It wouldn't go. That broke his streak at 10. Here's an alley-oop to Frazier, intercepted on the play by Starks.
Not a good time to pull the alley-oop. You're 14 down and you need a good shot. Not a good time to pull that one.
70 seconds to go. Ricky Jackson, there's Todd Starks.
Ricky Jackson put a little pizzazz on that last pass. The fans kind of enjoyed that one.
Twitty commits the foul. It'll be a 1-and-1.
Ricky's got a little bit of a up-tempo idea to his offensive game. He likes to make that spectacular pass. Likes to take it to the hole. Very quick player, very explosive player. One that Coach Donowald's going to enjoy coaching, I'm sure, the next 3 years. Just a freshman.
Reminds a lot of people here of Ricky Johnson, who developed into an explosive performer at Illinois State.
He's got very good size, long arms, carries some good weight on him. Looks like he could fill out even more. Plays the perimeter game.
He can play that physical game defensively that Bob Donowald likes to employ.
You could put him alongside at the off guard Todd Starks. You'd have an excellent defensive, offensive punch with some very good size.
I think Ricky would like to get into the gym this summer and work on that shot. Become a little more proficient from the outside. He's a guy who creates offense, though, normally. Under a minute to go. Tony Twitty passed it up to Frazier. Williamson over the back of Gerard Coleman. Coleman's going to get an opportunity to add to that career high.
Tell you what, he will be a very happy man tonight, as well everybody who's followed Illinois State. The real trick to him now is, can he carry it forward to Monday? And if there's a Wednesday, can he carry it forward to Wednesday? Now's the time that guys sometimes have a tendency to roll and roll quickly. If he can do that, you know Sanders can't have as bad a game as he's had today, or Harris. Illinois State could be really tough to deal with.
6 out of 7 at the free throw line now for Gerard Coleman. Made 10 of 11 from the field. Has 26 points. Hollifield gets it back. And the foul committed by Richie Adderley. That is his second personal foul. Stops the clock with 41 seconds to go.
I'll say this about Indiana State. They've had a long season. You've got a young team. Brought in a lot of transfer players to try to bolster their lineup because of a void in their recruiting scheme. They came out today and they played exactly how Coach Green wanted to from the start. I think he had an excellent game plan. The fact is he was on the road. Balls didn't fall. You can't win ball games unless you can score points.
Here goes Gerard Coleman. He leads the ball game. Listen to the standing ovation. Six points, 9 rebounds, 10 of 11 from the field. 7 out of 9 at the free throw line. Gerard Coleman, the freshman from North Chicago.
The only thing that would have been more impressive is if he would have played with a blindfold.
Twitty off the mark. Williamson, the rebound, was fouled in the final 31 seconds. Ricky Jackson, the guilty party. Jackson picking up his first. Gerard Coleman can hold his head high, no question about it. And he is.
This young man right here, Williamson, can hold his head high. The time he's gotten here in the second half, he's really been productive.
He can build on that over the offseason, no question about it. Williamson, 8 rebounds, a career high. He's got 7 points. Field, the rebound surrounded by Sycamores, and Illinois State moves it in a hurry.
They just have to make sure the clock keeps running, nobody gets hurt. This is cleanup time. The young man that got fouled right there is a walk-on.
Sean Morrows picks up. He'll go to the free throw line. Foul coming up against Indiana State's Tony Twitty. It is his 3rd. Sean Morrows, a walkout, played 10 games as a freshman. The only Illinois State player from outside the Midwest.
And if I got the story right, his dad was is a high school coach who wanted his son to play for Coach Donowell because of the respect he has for the man.
Donowell calls Sean Morrows a real coaching candidate. He's a student of the game. Jones had it broken up and a foul called, I believe, on Morrows. Morrows picks up the foul.
It's got to be a thrill for a walk-on fellow like Morrows to come in here, get some playing time, have a chance to make something happen. He's only a freshman. You never can tell what'll happen.
He's out of Richfield, Connecticut. Jones at the free throw line. So Illinois State will play the winner of Creighton and Wichita State coming up in the next few minutes. Field on the rebound. 5 seconds to go. They're going to just wind it down. That's it. Final score. The Redbirds of Illinois State 70. The Indiana State Sycamores 55. We'll be back. 9 rebound. Gerard Coleman. Illinois State advances in the Missouri Valley Conference postseason.